Do you remember on Thursday when we talked about, do you remember where's my pictures? We talked about this word. Do you remember what this word is? Species. And remember we had the picture that talked about the animals, right? The species. So we had like different species of butterflies and different species of fish.
I kind of realized something is these are the same kind. They're just not the same color.
And so, what was our definition for species? Can you read your handwriting?
Maybe. I'm kind of like living on plants or something.
Okay, so it was a distinct kind of plant or animal with distinguishing characteristics. Remember, all of these this has different characteristics than this one, correct? And then, what was our sentence for species?
The species of
koalas
bears are
endangered. Very good. Okay, so that kind of just reviews us of what we learned on Thursday. Now we're going to learn another word. Okay. What is this guy doing?
Ruining the guy's face.
Well, he's got a little thing and he's chiseling away. So he's kind of what? Modeling him. Okay.
He looks like a priest.
What do you think this guy's doing? Kind of the same thing? You know another word for that? Carpeting? Okay. Well, they're taking something and they're making it into something else, right? This probably started out as a big block. Okay. So our word for this picture is going to be the word sculptor. Have you ever heard of the word sculptor? Sculptor. Okay, so let's write it. SCULPTOR. Nice handwriting. I like that. Okay, sculptor. Now, in this picture, who do you think the sculptor is?
It looks like a priest.
Is the sculptor the person or the clay?
The clay.
Okay. Sculptor is going to be a noun. So we're going to write noun, N-O-U-N. So a noun is a what? Can you tell me what a noun is? A
person, place, or thing.
Person, place, or thing. So a sculptor is going to be a person. So look, do you think this is the sculptor? And what is the sculptor doing? He's making it into something. Good job. Okay, so let's look at this. We're going to put synonym right here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're going to go right here. The origin of the word sculptor, like where it came from, the origin is Latin. So, you know, when you have Latin class with Mrs. Gartner, she teaches you Latin, and so you might hear the word sculptor, okay? And in Latin, the word sculpere means to carve. And didn't you say that? Didn't you say the guy looks like he's carving something out? Yes? Okay, so our definition of sculptor is, you ready? An artist who carves figures. An artist who carves figures. Have you ever sculpted something? Maybe in art with Mrs. Paul? You didn't have clay? Oh, what did you do in Boy Scouts?
I had to get one of my knives I shaved like a cross.
Oh, you were a sculptor. You were doing exactly what they were doing, but you did a knife and a piece of wood. Very good. Okay, so if a sculptor is an artist who carves figures, what is a synonym? So remember, the word synonym means the same. So what's another word for sculptor?
Sculpture.
Well, that's kind of just using the same word. Think of another word. Artist, I like that. Artist. Okay, what about this? If you're sculpting, or if you're really good in art, you're probably very creative with crafts, right? So if you're creative with crafts, what would that word be? You would be a
Crafter.
What about craftsman? But very good, you got the word craft. So craftman. Make sure you spelled it right. CRAFTSMAN. Okay, so if this word means the same as a sculptor, we have artist and craftsman. Over here, we're going to put an antonym. An antonym means the opposite. Okay, so what is the opposite of an artist? What is the opposite of a sculptor? Could be an artist, but maybe somebody who enjoys singing. So you could put a singer. Okay. What's another antonym? An opposite of sculptor. Sometimes people who like to sing also like to... So you could put a dancer. You could put ballerina if you want. Good job. Musician. Right? Okay. Miss Couture is not a sculptor. I am not good at sculpting things. You sound like you might be good at sculpting things, like in Boy Scouts. Okay, so if a noun is a person, place, or thing, what do we call over there? Which one of those do we use to describe the noun? Well, a noun marker is a, an, or the. Go down a little bit further. Adjective. So we're going to come up with an adjective that describes the word sculptor. Can you think of an adjective? The blank sculptor created a masterpiece. What kind of sculptor?
A guy.
Well, kind of guy.
A boy.
Well, let's think of a word that describes sculptor. What kind of sculptor would you be? You would be maybe let's think of talented. Okay, so let's put talented. The talented sculptor. What's another word? What else could you be besides talented? This sculptor to me looks like he's being very what?
Creative.
Okay, the creative sculptor. That's good. Can you write that? You know what? The one that I came up with is careful sculptor. Maybe he's being very careful, right? He's not just rushing through it, is it? He's really working on this. Okay, so can you think of a sentence for the word sculptor? The sculptor
Created a guy.
Okay. The sculptor created a guy. You can write that. Then I'm going to write my sentence, and then we'll compare. Got it? Read your sentence.
So a sculptor.
A sculptor.
A sculptor created a superhero named Green Arrow.
Very nice. Read it. A sculptor created a superhero named Green Arrow. Very nice. Okay, give me your bumpers. Do you have a capital letter and a period?
Maybe.
Okay. I liked the way you added some things to your story. Okay, let's read my sentence. The sculptor carved the statue out of marble. That would be kind of cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go back to our paper that we were looking at last week. And remember, this was an expository text. You remember what expository means?
Maybe.
What do you think it means? going to give us facts. Could give us opinions, but it's going to give us factual information. And so what was the title of our story? Feathery Homes. And what did we kind of decide this was probably going to be about? Birds and their homes. Very good. Okay, so let's see if you can find the word sculptor in the paper. Do you see it? Oh, you found it last week by accident. There's the word sculptor. So we have the word species and the word sculptor. Okay, very good. So, as we read today's expository passage, be ready to talk about the different homes for birds. I don't really know that much about the homes for birds. Okay, so, you think you can read it? I'll help you out a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
Did you know that there is a kind of bird that can see?
So,
this bird, or the
Taylor
bird, uses its beak as a needle.
So this bird can sew, and he's going to use its beak as a needle. Okay, go ahead.
It sews leaves together in the shape of a cup. Then it
Lines.
lines the cup with straw and
Lays.
lays its eggs there.
Okay, so this bird is a bird that can sew, but is it the same way that like I sew pants? No, it's sewing together its what?
House.
Its house. Okay. And what's another word? What's another word that they used for house in that paragraph? Nest. Okay. Let's read the second paragraph. Each species
builds its own special kind of nest. The most common natural
materials.
materials used for nest are grass, twigs, and feathers.
What are the three things they use?
Grass, twigs, and feathers.
Very good. A bird must
have these materials in a nest. Imagine building a house without
cement
or nails
to hold it together. So could you build a house without nails and stuff like that? No. So what did this bird need to grow? We said grass and okay. So this sentence is telling us that species are created by how they build their nest. Okay, I'm going to continue reading right here, so you follow along. The ovenbird makes a nest that is very solid. The nest is made of mud. Like a sculptor, the ovenbird molds the mud into the shape of an oven and then lets it dry in the sun. The sun bakes the mud, making it very hard. Is ovenbird a good name for this bird that bakes its nest with the mud? Yeah, okay. And then they're saying the ovenbird makes a nest that is very solid. Why do you think it's solid?
Because then you can't fit through it.
But it's made of what that makes it so solid?
Mud.
Mud. Dry, cooked mud. Have you ever made mud patties? You leave them in the sun, like when you go camping and they get all hard?
Well, usually I make like meatballs and then they get hard and my brother sees I go.
Oh, okay. Now we're right here.
Not
Not all birds make their homes in branches. What's a branch?
like
In the tree.
Yeah.
So not all birds make their homes in the trees. Some birds build their nest on the ground, while others bury their eggs under the ground. And some birds do not build nests at all. For example, a bird called the fairy tern lays its eggs right on a branch. It tiptoes on the branch and balances its eggs very carefully so they won't fall. That guy kind of sounds like that would be tough to do, don't you think? Not dropping any of the eggs. So when you look for nests and eggs in the branches of trees and bushes, remember that some nests may be right under your feet. What does that mean? They might build their nests on the ground because not all of them are up in the. I thought all birds lived in the trees, didn't you?
So some birds can go anywhere.
Oh, you think?
Things like that.
Okay, so what did the title tell us about? It told us that it was going to be about feathery homes. What do you wonder about this passage? Is there anything it didn't tell you that you think, I know about the ovenbird. I know about the bird that tiptoes with its eggs. Is there any other questions you have about birds and building their homes? Nothing? I would like to know maybe how long do birds stay in their homes? Do they build one nest and that's it their whole life, or do they build a bunch of nests all over in different trees? What do you think?
Maybe one's a backup in case they get attacked.
Oh, that's good. Maybe one is a backup. Okay, so we're going to move back to this connect. Correct. Okay, so we had the questions. What does it tell us? What materials were used for the nest? The shapes of the nest. Where do they find the nest? And then what does the word species mean? Okay, so now we're going to have some new answers. Yes? Okay. So, number 1, does the title tell us about the passage? Okay, well the title was Feathery Home, so the bird's homes. And didn't it tell us about the different types of homes? It did. So, did the title tell us about what the passage was going to be about? Absolutely. So we can just put a yes right there. And we can put a big old check mark. Okay. So what did you answer for number 2? What materials are used to build nests?
Wood, pine, mud, and material.
Okay. So what did our passage say that they build out of? Well, look right here. What does it say? Straw. Did you have straw written down? No, so over here, let's add the word straw. What other things do they build their nests out of? What did the ovenbird? Oh, twigs. What else? Mud. The bird that built its nest out of mud, what was it called? Do you remember? You put it in the oven. Ovenbird. Okay. What do we have here? Grass. And then what was this one right here? Feathers. I'm thinking I might like to build my nest out of feathers. Okay? It'll be soft. Okay.
It'll be stinky.
What are the different shapes of nests? What did you say?
Just circles.
Okay, you said circles. But the ovenbird molds its shape into the shape of an oven. So we have an oven shape. What other kind of shapes? Sit up. What other kind of shapes did it say? Did we have any other ones? Oh, this one that looks like a basket. What else do we see? Oh, what about here? The nest is shaped like a pear. So remember, a pear kind of looks like this, right? That's kind of saying that's the shape, right? So a pear. So we've got an oven shape, a basket, a pear. Okay, where do you find nest? There's kind of 2 places.
Trees.
On the tree what?
Branch.
Tree branches. And they did talk about that not everybody builds their trees on the branches. Where do some of them build their nest? Right below your feet. So that says it's on the ground. I like the way you're paying attention today. Okay, now we talked about the word species on last week. Each species builds its own special kind of nest. What did you say species meant? Animals. What does our thing say that species is? Plants and animals. What did you say? Plants or animals that what? Okay. That have special characteristics, remember? Okay, so species, we said are plants. So write that plants are animals with specific characteristics. Okay, good job. Kind of making a mess here with all of our papers on me. My papers are not staying organized today. Okay. Do you have any more questions about feathery homes? Nothing? You're good? Okay. Any questions you have about maybe having birds? What you would like to know about birds? No? Okay. I wonder, do you think they build a nest for each egg? Or do you think they build one nest for all their eggs?
Probably one for all their eggs.
One for all their eggs? Okay. So what we're going to do is on our first card, we're going to put the subject. Let's write on the lines. I think you do better when we write on the lines. So what is the subject of this whole title?
Feathery homes.
So what's another word for feathery homes? Let's do bird's home. Bird's nest. So let's do bird. I want you to write on there bird's nest. Very good. Okay, so this is our subject, right? This is what the whole paper is about. Bird's nest. What letter does bird start with? Thank you. Okay, now, what is the main idea? What do you think this is all about? Birds, what?
Home.
Birds, but how they build their homes. And they build their homes, but they all have different kinds of nest. Okay, so let's write different birds remember, you want to be able to read your handwriting when we have to go back and use these. Different birds build different birds build different kinds of what?
Homes.
Kinds of, but what are we going to call those homes?
Nests.
Different birds build different kinds of nests. Good job. So, our subject is bird's nest. But the main idea, what the whole thing is about, is build different kinds of nests. Okay, now we're going to talk about our supporting ideas. And Aiden, we're going to talk about 4 types of what? What do you think? What? Different types of homes. You're saying homes. Okay, so we're going to have 4. We're going to have 4 supporting ideas. Now, let's think about what was the first bird they talked about. Let's go back to here so we can look through it and see. Okay, did you know that there's a kind of bird that can sow? This bird is called the Tailor bird. So on this card, I want you to write tailor bird and write so you can read it. Okay. Now, tailor bird was one of them. What was the other bird?
The oven bird.
Well, the oven bird, that's great. Let's put it right there on that one. Okay, now, two things I want you to look at. Here's the word bird right there. So I want to make sure that we're spelling the word bird correctly on every card. Okay, there was two more types of nests. Do you remember what they were called?
The oven.
Well, we already did the oven bird. What about right here? A weaver bird builds a nest that looks like a basket. So right here, and I want you to copy it, I want you to put weaver bird right there. Remember the last bird? A bird called the fairy tern lays its eggs right on a branch. Remember, the fairy tern, it has to walk real carefully so it doesn't drop them. So here I want you to put fairy tern. Tern, T-E-R-N. Okay, very nice. So let's see what we have. We have the subject. The subject is bird's nest. Then we have the main idea. And then under that, we have 4 types of birds. So guess what we're going to do with our next cards? We're going to write details. Because if we're going to write a passage about this, we got to know the details of an oven bird. And we have to know the details of a fairy tern. Okay? So, let's look here at our card pyramid, Aiden. Subject, main idea, supporting ideas, details. Okay. I bet when Mr. S tells you to write, he's like, Aiden, can you add some more details? Right? Because details take time. Okay, let's look at the tailor bird. I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to tell me about the tailor bird. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that there is a kind of bird that can sew?
They can sew.
Okay. Okay. It uses its beak as a needle. It sews leaves together in the shape of a cup. You could just put shape of a cup. Okay, so what does your card say? Because I want to make sure you can read it. It
can sew.
It uses its beak as a needle.
It sews shape
like a cup. Okay, so now we've got the weaver bird. What did the weaver bird make what did it make its nest look like? Do you remember? Think about it. If you're weaving, think about things that are woven together. Your mom probably has them around their house, and they're brown, and they're weaved together. Okay, so listen. A weaver bird builds a nest that looks like a basket. Okay, so it looks like a basket. The nest is shaped like a pear. So it looks like a basket and shaped like a pear. P-E-A-R. A-R. Okay. Now, we have the ovenbird. The ovenbird, their nests are made out of what? Remember?
Mud.
Mud. So I want you to write the word mud, made of mud. You can put made of mud. Okay, do you remember what shape this is in? Remember, think about if you're baking it to look like mud. If you bake something, where would you put it in?
Oven.
Oven, so it's shaped like an oven. You can flip it over if you need to. And do you remember where it's baked? It's baked in the... Think about it. Okay,
Mud.
if they've got the mud, they're putting it in the shape of an oven. They're leaving it outside, and what is cooking it?
Sun.
The sun. So it's baked in the sun. Good job. Okay, the fairy turn. Do they have nest?
Mm-mm.
No, because they're
It's right under.
it's right on the branch. Good job. So no nest. It lays its eggs on a. You just told me. Lays your eggs on a branch. Okay, very nice. We're going to stop there for today. What I want you to do is I want you to number your cards in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's stack them up. Let's go in order. Uh-oh. Fix that one. That's all you put numbers on them so they can
Remember.
stay together.